Okay, let's dive in. Picture this. Just a regular t-shirt, maybe a bit worn, nothing special, but it's got this tiny hole cut into it, very deliberately. Sounds harmless, right? Well, what if I told you that hole is actually like a key piece of a huge fraud scheme, one based right here in Jacksonville, making our roads incredibly dangerous? How does a t-shirt do that? That's really the question we're digging into today. This deep dive is about road safety, a huge issue. Specifically, how commercial truck drivers, who apparently don't speak English well enough, are finding ways, sort of elaborate ways, to cheat on their CDL tests, their commercial driver's licenses, and the consequences. Well, they can be devastating, even fatal. We're talking about the very system meant to keep us safe being undermined.
Exactly. And our mission here is to unpack just how serious this is. We'll look at some recent, really tragic incidents that show the human cost when things go wrong. We'll also get into the surprisingly sophisticated methods these guys are using to beat the tests. And then, what's being done, or maybe not being done, to make sure the drivers of those massive trucks are actually qualified. This all stems from a recent investigation, really shedding light on something, frankly, quite alarming and maybe more widespread than people think.
Let's start with that human cost, because it's immediate and, frankly, gut-wrenching. Just a few days ago, down in South Florida, a truck driver was arrested. A crash killed 3 people. And the detail from the DOT report, it's chilling. The driver, apparently from India, made an illegal U-turn across the median, right past a sign clear as day, official use only, no U-turn.
Wow.
Yeah, and then later, when they tested him, he couldn't identify 3 or 4 basic road signs.
3 or 4, that's basic stuff.
Exactly. It just makes you ask, how on earth does someone like that get a license to drive an 80,000-pound vehicle? Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he had some strong words. He said the driver failed abysmally, not even close, on an English test. And he asked, quote, "How ridiculous is it that somebody would get a commercial driver's license who doesn't understand the language of this country, doesn't understand road signs?"
That really sums up the frustration, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does. Because, for someone operating a huge truck, understanding English isn't just helpful, it's critical. Absolutely non-negotiable. Think about it. Road signs, traffic commands, communicating in an emergency. The CDL test itself covers complex things like air brakes, hazmat signs, logbooks. You need solid English for that.
Right. It's not just reading stop.
Not at all. Imagine trying to explain a vehicle problem during an inspection, or describe your cargo, or understand first responders at a crash scene if you can't communicate effectively. This language skill, it's a fundamental safety layer. And when it's missing, well, everyone's at risk.
And like you said, this isn't some brand new problem, sadly. The consequences have been playing out for years. Remember that awful 26-car pileup back in 2017 on I-95 near Yulee, Nassau County?
Oh, yeah. That was terrible.
Just chaos. And it destroyed a local family's life. Inside one car was Connor Design. Just graduated from Creekside High. His life just ended. His mom, she still wears his fingerprint on a necklace from the funeral home. She said, "It's the last thing that I have of him."
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Her message and her attorneys, it's stark. Commercial truck drivers who can't read and speak English take them off the road because they're killer drivers.
Powerful words, born from unimaginable pain. And what's crucial in Connor's case, absolutely critical, is the direct link. The trucker involved, Winder Sangha, speaks Punjabi. He actually admitted it in a deposition, under oath. "I don't read English."
He admitted it.
Yes.
Well,
And here's the kicker. There was a sign, a clear warning sign, "Slow down, traffic stopped ahead," posted at least 6 miles before the crash site.
6 miles. Plenty of warning.
Plenty. His inability to read that sign, combined with its presence,
Yeah.
it just shows, tragically, how lack of language comprehension can lead directly to catastrophe.
Yeah.
It's not just about steering the wheel.
Yeah, that connection is undeniable. Which brings us to the next big question, the one looming over all this. How are these drivers getting these licenses in the first place? And that leads us into this criminal investigation in Jacksonville. We got hold of some documents. They show 5 arrests, felonies, all tied to CDL fraud. And here's a detail from the arrest reports that really stands out. Every single one of the men arrested, they asked for an interpreter.
Everyone.
Everyone. Which confirms they were non-English speakers trying to get licenses meant for people who are proficient in English.
Right there. That suggests intent, doesn't it? Requesting an interpreter for a test that requires English. It's a massive red flag, absolutely. It signals a pre-planned attempt to get around a basic requirement. This isn't just someone struggling. It points to something more organized. This whole investigation, it falls under the Florida Highway Patrol's Bureau of Criminal Investigations and Intelligence. Highly complex stuff. Sergeant Dylan Bryant at FHP called it a very elaborate case, organized fraud.
Organized fraud. Wow.
Yeah. And he confirmed it statewide, but with dozens and dozens of cases centered right here in Jacksonville. He mentioned one arrest specifically, Vladislav Jarosik, caught at the DMV on Roosevelt. Jarosik got convicted 2 felonies, 8 months in jail. But Sergeant Bryan said he was, quote, above entry level but not the
But
mastermind.
not the mastermind. So there are bigger fish involved.
That's the chilling implication. There are people higher up orchestrating this.
Okay, so this is where it gets really wild. How were they actually cheating? What did the investigators find? You mentioned it was elaborate.
Elaborate is an understatement. It sounds like something from, I don't know, a spy movie.
Yeah.
Investigators found test takers were literally rigged up with equipment. They wore these chest harnesses, right, holding a red iPhone, and it was hidden under a T-shirt. The T-shirt with the hole cut in it.
There it is, the T-shirt.
Yep. So during the test, they display this abnormal body language kind of wiggling around in front of the computer. Why? Because an accomplice, maybe sitting in the parking lot, was watching a live stream of the test questions from that hidden iPhone.
No way.
Yeah.
Streaming the test live.
Yes. The accomplice reads the English questions off the screen, figures out the answer, and then feeds it back to the test taker through a tiny earpiece, probably in their native language. So they just select the right answer without understanding any of it.
That is incredibly brazen and sophisticated in a terrible way. How did anyone even notice? DMV employees must see nervous people all the time.
That's the interesting part. It wasn't some high-tech detection. It was human observation. DMV staff got suspicious because people started doing really weird things, like starting to disrobe or unbuttoning their shirts during the written tests.
Unbuttoning their shirts. Why?
Presumably trying to adjust the hidden camera or earpiece. It's just not normal behavior during a test. So these highly abnormal actions, the fidgeting, maybe fiddling with their shirt, that's what raised the red flags. It shows that even with clever tech, basic human vigilance can still catch people out. The scheme was complex, but the giveaway was awkwardness.
It's almost comical if it weren't so dangerous. And Sergeant Bryan's comment really drives home the scale. He said these 5 arrests, they're just the tip of the iceberg, and that this kind of fraud is happening all over the country.
Which means this isn't just a Florida problem, it's national. The networks running these schemes are likely widespread.
So, given how serious this is, the clear danger, what's been done about it? Any major steps taken at a higher level?
Well, yes, there was a significant move. Back in April, President Donald Trump signed an executive order. It stated pretty clearly that truck drivers who can't read and can't speak English must be taken off the road immediately. Paul to par. So, on the face of it, that sounds like a direct, forceful response to the problem.
Okay, an executive order sounds strong. But you mentioned earlier there's a catch, right? The sources we looked at pointed out some limitations.
Exactly. There's a major critique. While that order might help tackle fraud for drivers getting licensed here in the U.S., our sources say it does not solve a big issue involving global trucking companies.
Global companies? How so?
Well, these companies can bring in drivers from places like Canada, Mexico, India, who are licensed under their country's rules. Those rules might have different, maybe less strict, language requirements.
Ah, I see. So even if we fix the U.S. licensing fraud, drivers licensed elsewhere could still be on our roads without strong English skills.
Precisely. It's a loophole created by international agreements and global logistics. It means the public might still be at risk from drivers operating legally under different standards. It shows how domestic policy sometimes can't fully address globalized industries.
And that ties back to Connor's mom's feelings about it. She saw that executive order as, well, not enough. Her fear was that it's temporary. Another president could wipe it away or just rescind it. She wants something permanent, which is exactly why her focus now is Connor's law. She's pushing hard to make it a federal law, something with real teeth, something that lasts.
Something permanent.
Yeah, a law that gives police officers the clear authority to take away the keys from drivers who cannot understand English, everyone in the country. And her words about it, they're just so raw. She said, these big trucks kill people. They are killers when they get in crashes. You and I and our Hyundai get killed. They walk away.
That's a stark image.
It is. And then just her plea, every mama deserves to keep her baby. It turns her personal tragedy into this universal call for action. It's hard to argue with that.
And you have to understand her motivation. Yes, there was a $1 billion settlement in Connor's civil case, a huge sum. But she said, point blank, I don't give a damn about the money.
Doesn't care about the money.
No, because the thought that haunts her is no mother should be forced to lose their babies. For her, this isn't about compensation at all. It's purely about preventing this horror from happening to anyone else. It's about changing the system.
So where does Connor's Law stand right now? Is it making progress?
It's currently a bill before Congress,
Mm-hmm.
and it does have some momentum, 14 sponsors so far, including Representative John Rutherford, who represents the Jacksonville area, which is significant.
Okay. Local support.
Right. And Connor's mom is actively campaigning, trying to get signatures on a change.org petition, really pushing for awareness. The core idea of the proposed law is to empower officers right there on the roadside. Let them do a quick assessment. Can this driver understand basic commands? Read essential signs in English? If not, the officer would have the power to immediately take them off duty, pull the keys, basically.
So immediate action based on observed lack of comprehension.
Exactly. It gives those boots-on-the-ground officers a tool to address a critical safety gap right then and there, before another tragedy can happen. It's a direct approach.
Okay, so let's quickly recap what we've covered in this deep dive. We started with the terrible human cost tragic accidents linked to drivers unable to understand English. Then we went inside the surprisingly sophisticated fraud, the hidden iPhones, the t-shirts with holes, the organized cheating rings getting unqualified drivers their
Yeah,
CDLs,
the sheer ingenuity of the fraud.
and finally, the search for solutions. We looked at the limitations of things like executive orders and the ongoing push for stronger, permanent legislation like Connor's Law.
And why does all this matter to you, listening right now? Well, it's fundamentally about your safety. Every time you get on the road, sharing it with massive commercial trucks, this issue is relevant. It highlights a vulnerability in the systems meant to protect us all and underscores, really, our shared responsibility to make sure those systems actually work. Understanding the problem is the first step.
And maybe one last thought to leave her with. As technology gets more advanced, it seems the ways people try to cheat or exploit systems get more advanced too. It makes you wonder, how vigilant do we need to be, not just enforcing today's rules, but trying to anticipate tomorrow's scams? And how can one person's story, like Connor's, born from such awful loss, actually create lasting systemic change that really protects people long after the headlines fade? Something to think about next time you're out on the highway?